Paris. In Paris, you can find a historic church, an eye-catching art gallery, or a sultry jazz club on any given corner. But it's still worthwhile to explore even the more apparent attractions. Eiffel Tower. The Gustave Eiffel designed wrought iron tower, which also serves as Paris's emblem, is the city's most recognizable building. With a height of 324 meters, 1,063 feet, it is the tallest structure in Paris. It was completed in 1889 as the centerpiece of the Exposition Universelle. The Eiffel Tower currently draws more than 7 million tourists each year, despite not always being so well known. The French author Guy de Maupassant is said to have eaten in the cafe in the tower every day since it was the only place in Paris where he could escape the city's sights. Arc de Triomphe. The Arc de Triomphe, the world's tallest triumphal arch, was first envisioned by Napoleon Bonaparte in 1806 to celebrate his army's victory at the Battle of Austerlitz. It took 30 years to build. Since November 11, 1923, at 6:30 p.m., the perpetual flame has been relit above the tomb of the unknown soldier and beneath the carved arch. This is where the city's main New Year's Eve street party is held, which ends with an amazing light display at midnight. Tuileries Garden. The largest and oldest public garden in the city is called Jardin des Tuileries, Tuileries Garden. It provides for a beautiful promenade over graveled paths and immaculate lawns, with coffee spots along the way, with unmatched views of the Place de la Concorde and the Arc de Triomphe at one end and the Louvre at the other. André Lenotre, the architect of the Versailles Gardens, created the park, which was inducted into the UNESCO World Heritage List in 1991. Louvre Museum. Walk through the Arc de Triomphe du Carrousel, another of Napoleon Bonaparte's arches, at the eastern end of the Tuileries to enter the grounds of the Louvre, the largest art museum in the world. More than 8 million people visit the museum annually to view its 38,000 exhibits, making it the most visited museum in the world. The building's original function as a royal palace, dating to the 12th century, is still visible. Palais Garnier. Between 1861 and 1875, the opulent Palais Garnier Opera Theatre on the Boulevard des Capucines was constructed. One of Paris's most lavish structures, it employed 73 sculptors, 14 painters, and mosaicists to work on the embellishment of just the south facade. It has influenced numerous notable works of art throughout the years, including Marc Chagall's painted ceiling, which was unveiled in the building itself in 1964, as well as the novel and musical Phantom of the Opera. Moulin Rouge. The Moulin Rouge was the place to party during the Belle Epoque and was established in 1889 by Charles Zeidler and Joseph Oller. It is also the Cannes birthplace. Cannes go see its furry show for an unforgettable experience. Even if just for a selfie in front of the iconic Reed windmill, the Moulin Rouge is still worth seeing today despite being somewhat expensive and overly touristic. Sacré-Cœur. You may reach the Sacré-Cœur Cathedral by taking a stroll through Montmartre's narrow alleyways or by riding a dedicated cable car up the steep hill below. The White Church, perched atop Paris's tallest building, commands sweeping views of the city from the top of its greatest dome. Construction on the Paul Abadie-designed church commenced in 1875, and it was dedicated in 1919, following the conclusion of World War I. Georges Pompidou. Since its the 31st of January 1977 opening, the Centre Georges Pompidou, with its distinctive inside-out design by Richard Rogers and Renzo Piano, has served as a focal point for modern and contemporary art. In addition to housing the Musée National d'Art Moderne, the Centre Pompidou is also the location of the OCAM, a center for musical and acoustic research. Even if you're not a huge admirer of art, it's worth a trip to this central location between Les Halles and Le Marais just to take the escalators up to the 5th floor for an unbeatable view of Paris. Place des Vosges. The Place des Vosges is the first planned square inches Paris, with its neatly trimmed trees and red brick structures. Henri IV built it between 1605 and 1612, and the 17th and 18th centuries saw it particularly popular with the French nobles. Today, the ancient residences that once surrounded its well-kept lawns are home to well-liked museums. It's a terrific spot for people watching and sunbathing right now. Place de la Bastille. A few stones embedded in the street and road surface are all that's left of the Bastille prison, whose storming in 1789 signaled the beginning of the French Revolution. Surprisingly, the Genie de la Liberté, spirit of freedom, column that stands in the center of the Place de la Bastille honors the July Revolution of 1830 rather than the most notable event to take place there. St. Martin. Between 1802 and 1825, the Canal St. Martin was constructed, with the money coming from a tax on wine. It's ironic that it's now one of Paris's most sought-after locations for a liquid picnic. Along the canal's banks are shops, cafes, and restaurants, and on warm summer days, locals congregate for a casual al fresco dinner with baguettes, cheese, and wine. Père-Lachaise Cemetery. Apart from being the final borough of Paris in terms of numbers, the peaceful 20th arrondissement is also the one that people are least likely to visit, unless they are interested in experiencing life's deepest sleep. Père-Lachaise Cemetery, the final resting place of many famous people including Jim Morrison, Edith Piaf, and Wilde, is located right adjacent to the Gambetta metro stop. Sainte-Chapelle. The Sainte-Chapelle, another magnificent example of Gothic architecture in Paris, is located not far from Notre Dame Cathedral. The imposing stone building, which is located on the Ile de la Cite, was built between 1238 and 1248. It was built by Louis IX as a royal chapel to store his collections of relics from the Passion, but now it is best recognized for its magnificent stained glass windows from the 13th century. Jardin du Luxembourg. The lovely Jardin du Luxembourg is located on the left bank of the Seine, tucked between Street Germain-des-Prés and the Latin Quarter. Early in the 17th century, Marie de Medici lived there, in a palace and park that were modeled after Florence's Pitti Palace and Boboli Gardens. The park's hours of operation vary depending on the season, but if it's still light outside, it should be open. Pantheon. The Pantheon is located in the Latin Quarter. Just stroll along Rue du Cardinal Lemoyne to get there. The Pantheon, the largest structure in the Latin Quarter, was designed as a church for Street Genevieve when it was finished in 1790, right as the French Revolution began. It was decided to convert it into a mausoleum for the great men and women of French history when Honor Gabriel Riqueté, Comte de Mirabeau, a revered leader in the New World Order, passed away on the 2nd of April 1791. Tour Montparnasse. The Tour Montparnasse's unique 360-degree vista is made possible by the fact that it is the only skyscraper in the Paris skyline, which may seem out of place. It offers a rooftop patio that is just across the street from the Montparnasse SNCF and metro station in the 14th arrondissement and is easily accessible. Up here, you may breathe in some fresh air while admiring the city of lights and snapping some breathtaking pictures. Catacombs. The catacombs have to be one of the spookier stops on a standard Paris tour. The catacombs, a large network of old quarries beneath the city's streets, are home to some 6 million human remains that have been utilized to decorate the walls and ceilings. Since its creation in 1738, the ossuary has been a popular tourist destination. Les Invalides. The crowning splendor of Les Invalides, a former military hospital and retirement residence that Louis XIV ordered in 1670 and completed in 1708, is the Église du Dôme, with its piercing gold spire. Napoleon Bonaparte's grave is located within the complex of 15 interconnecting courtyards that also houses the Musée de l'Armée, a military museum. Musée d'Orsay. The spectacular Beaux-Arts Quai d'Orsay, which was originally constructed as a train station to welcome visitors to the 1900 World Fair, now houses the largest collection of Impressionist and Post-Impressionist paintings in the whole world. The artworks of the Musée d'Orsay range in age from 1848 to 1914 and include more than 2,000 paintings and 600 sculptures by famous artists like Monet, Renoir, and Seurat. One of the city's most well-liked tourist destinations is the museum, Palais de Tokyo, the largest center for contemporary art in Europe. The Palais de Tokyo is conveniently located near Trocadero in the 16th arrondissement. In order to be a forward-thinking home for modern art, the Art Center erected its opulent Art Deco doors in 2002. The venue hosts a rotating schedule of transient exhibitions of art that highlight the most fascinating and innovative artistic disciplines, from performance art to fashion. An anti-museum, as it calls itself, the venue showcases emerging creative talent as opposed to a permanent